Why do 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years whilst the other 20% thrive? Hey, I'm George Adamides. Welcome to the Business Mentor Podcast. These are just one of the questions we're going to be answering and dissecting the actionable insights, philosophies, and strategies to help entrepreneurs and leaders in travel and hospitality. Welcome to the Business Mentor Podcast. Jack Ma, the multi-billionaire founder of Alibaba, famously said, before the age of 20, be a good student. Between the ages of 20 and 30, find a good company to work for, especially a good boss, because a good boss can teach you and shape you and guide you, especially in the beginning of your career. Between the ages of 30 and 40, think vertically and work for yourself if you want to be an entrepreneur. Otherwise, focus and aim for those high levels of management and leadership roles. Between the ages of 40 and 50, focus on what you're good at. It's not the time to start something new. And between the ages of 50 and 60, give back to the young, give back to the next generation. I'm turning 45 this year, so I've been at crossroads in my life of what I want to do for the next 5, 10, 15 years. What's the legacy that I want to leave behind? I've been blessed to have lived in 7 different countries, traveled to almost 50 countries around the world. Along the way, I've met some incredible individuals that have helped shape who I am, but I've also impacted thousands of lives around the world. Some are working quietly in companies, some are running their own companies, some are big business leaders. I wanted to focus on what I'm good at. What am I good at? I've been doing it for the last 30 years. Hospitality, travel, and business. I wanted to be bringing these people on to help you become not only one of the 20% that are successful in life and generally in that top layer, but to move yourself to the top 10%, 3%, and 1%. I believe every single person on this planet is blessed with unique set of skills and knowledge that we come with, but we need to tap into them. And in order to do that, you need the right knowledge, access to the right people, to the right mentorship. Well, I've had amazing mentorship in some of my journey in this life, and I've had other times where I have not had the right mentorship. And I understand the acceleration rate. You can collapse time frames when you have the right membership. You can collapse time frames when you can take 10x action than what you usually do. You can collapse time frames when you're at the right place at the right time with the right people with the right idea. But in order to do that, you've got to know that you're there. So I want to bring you people that have been there, or are going there. And together, because I'm in student mode, I will always remain in student mode. There's a quote that I live by for the last 10, 15 years of my life, which is if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotting. There is no standing still in life. If you stop, you're already on your way back. We've got to keep growing. And it's much easier to keep that momentum going of growth and success and your own evolution rather than growing, stopping, going back, and starting again. Starting again can be tough, but it can also be exciting. A bit about me, I've been in these industries for the last 30 years. The first 15 years, I worked in restaurants and hotels. I was part of Marriott International in managerial positions. I was in their graduate program in the UK, the best hospitality program in the UK. And I achieved 4 promotions in 4 years. I then moved into business development, where I did many years of food and beverage. I did sales, marketing, and business development, with my final role at the Intercontinental in Cyprus, which was one of the best golf resorts in the Eastern Mediterranean. At the age of 29, I decided to leave the corporate world and build my own business. And I partnered up with a company, a US-based travel company, that created a travel membership that cut out the middleman. I was with that company for a decade, actually 11 years, and not only growing the sales force in 30 different countries around the world, but in my final position, I was vice president for Europe, Middle East, Africa. My team sourced, contracted, and operated over 1,000 groups from 20 to 30 people to over 1,000 people resort takeovers. And we did almost $20 million in travel sales. That company unfortunately shut down at the end of 2020. COVID gave it a very, very hard hit. And in the middle of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I decided to open a plant-based restaurant in the capital of Cyprus. And it was tough. Opening up a business in the middle of COVID, in the middle of lockdowns, in the middle of everything that we lived through was one of the toughest things I've ever done. I'm blessed to have surpassed the €1 million revenue benchmark in 2024 since birth, and we've won multiple awards with that brand and now looking at franchising. I also run my own consulting company for the last 10 years, focused on hospitality and travel. And on top of all of that, I'm a father of two and a husband to my lovely wife, Ariadne. This is not a podcast for hospitality-specific jargon. I'm not here to confuse our listeners. I'm not here to talk about the micro aspects of hospitality or business, but the macro aspects. I'm here to uncover the gems and the wisdom from people that are making a difference in hospitality and as entrepreneurs who are leading people, who are inspiring people, who are making change, and who are innovating. Since in most of my podcasts, I will be asking the questions rather than answering them myself, I want to give you a few of my golden nuggets, a few of the lessons that I've learned in my 30-year journey that have helped shape who I am today. First and foremost, start with vision and with faith. Faith has pulled me through some of the darkest times in my life. An inner knowing that everything's going to be okay. Everything will work out in the end. Everything is happening for our own good. Have you noticed that when you're moving through chapters in your life and an opportunity comes along, many times you realize that the different chapters that you've gone through in your life before prepared you for the chapter which you're facing now. Stephen Covey says it greatly in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He says, begin with the end in mind. Begin with the final picture in mind. Creation happens in 3 different stages. First is the thought, the idea. It's in our mind. We get the thought, but many people, 70-80% of people I would say, do not act on those thoughts. Do not build that idea around and start to add meat to the bone, shall I say. How do you do that? You put it on a piece of paper. You start planning that idea out. And then once you've done that, you bring in the skills needed to make that idea happen. And then the third level, you bring it into reality. And leading with the heart, be true to yourself. Because if you cheat yourself, you'll cheat others. Truly care about the people in your team, the people in your organization. The founder of The Body Shop said, businesses should be incubators of the soul. Those are human beings in your organization, in your company, in your team. And if you can truly care about those people, their productivity, their loyalty will be through the roof. Consistency is key in success, in business, in any sector in life. Whether it's your body, you can't go to the gym for 5 hours once and not go for the rest of the week. It needs smaller, consistent efforts. Momentum is one of the hardest things to create and one of the easiest things to lose. And that goes into any single area of your life. So being consistent will help you build that momentum. And once you've got that momentum, it takes far less energy to keep it going than to let it die down and start from step 1 again. Have mentors around you. That was an amazing thing in the beginning of my career. I had mentors. When I didn't have mentors, I read books. I found the individuals that had the life I wanted to have, that lived their core values, that were real and genuine and in front of other people when leading their teams, but also at home. So find the mentors, find the people to follow that have the things, that have the life that you want to have. That leads me to leadership. Now, leadership does not begin with other people. Leadership begins with you. How do you lead you? Because how can you lead other people if you cannot lead yourself? How can you influence other people if you can't influence yourself? So self-leadership is key. And once you build self-leadership, then you can really, truly impact other people. The biggest thing about leadership is leading by example. You being the leader that inspires you, and the others will follow suit. And remember that excellence is a habit. Your habits are simply repeated patterns that bring you a result, whether positive or negative. So why not have positive habits? Why not create the habits that give you energy rather than take away energy from you? One thing that I've done for over 15 years of my life is an information diet. I haven't watched nightly news consistently since 2007, and I haven't been reading newspapers since 2008. I'm on an information diet on my mind because I'm very careful of what goes in. What goes in comes out. Garbage in, garbage out. If I put wisdom and knowledge and inspiration in, then those results will come out as well. If I watch the news or read newspapers and all they do is make me feel powerless, then what results will come from that feeling? My commitment to you is growth, both for myself and for you, to build a community of people that we grow together, mastermind together, and co-create together. Please connect with me, subscribe, share, and leave a review. If this Ground Zero episode impacted you in any way positively, send me your feedback, send me your comments. I would love to hear from you. I want to build a community of people that are driven and that will help impact the 80% of businesses that fail. Let's reduce that. We can do that together. We live in the information age and all the incredible information is out there. There is no excuse anymore to have such a high failure rate. Send me your biggest challenge at the moment in your business or being a leader in hospitality, and I would love to cover it in my future episodes and ask my guests that are coming on. Come back next week, Wednesday, for episode 1, where I'm bringing Chris Dunn, the individual that came to my university at the age of 22 and talked about the Marriott Graduate Program, inspired me to join, did my first interview, was the Director of Talent for Europe, Middle East for over a decade, was with Marriott for 15 years, and is now running his own business in Glasgow, Scotland, where he's originally from. There's some amazing wisdom coming out of that, and he's one of the most inspiring individuals I've ever met. So see you next week.